Yeah. 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 Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of River City 93. I'm your host, as always, Elliot Barr, and it's joining me as a man that had to relive. I can't even think of a good punchline for. He just had to sit through another home loss. It's been 129 days. Amy gonna try to make a joke about it. It's Mr. Matt Myers. How are you doing, man?
It's Groundhog Day again.
Oh man, if you can't laugh at it, you can't have fun with it, as we are saying right now. And man, it is becoming dark. Yeah. Well, let's try to bring some positive to it. It's so positive to take on to it. If you don't know what we're talking about the 3-2 loss that Kickers suffered at home, the South Georgia Tormenta. Yeah. But before we get started with all of that.
Not just Tormenta. A Tormenta team that just had their coach quit because who wants to live in Statesboro if they don't have to?
This is true.
Getting replaced by another coach who got kicked out, of his last job for being abusive, to his players.
This is true.
And they still can't put it together. This
is true. Yep. Yeah. All right, that's the show, folks. No, I'm joking. If you haven't already, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It goes a long way to help support this podcast. And is also make sure that if you would like to donate, you can go to rivercity93/support, and you can go there and donate to the page as well. But before we dive into the game, Matt, let's talk about it. The news came out maybe a couple of days ago, maybe a week or so ago. Season tickets are coming out. So if you are looking to renew your 2026 season ticket, it seemed like prices went down. I'm not gonna lie. Do I remember the prices from 2025? Not off the top of my head, but Matt, like you said earlier before we started recording, prices went down. If you want to get the Kickers and Ivy combo, that's $300 for this year, which is it was $330 last year, so it's $30 cheaper. General admission is $240. And the price of that went down. Midfield Club and Richmond Midfield Club are still expensive as well. But yeah, prices went down, which I don't think is a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a little weird because it seems like we're going to get more games next year.
Yeah,
the email suggested anywhere between 17 and 20
altogether. Yeah.
So yeah, like never going to complain about things not costing as much. At the same time, if there's more games, like I don't think it would have been unreasonable to stay the same or maybe go slightly up, especially if we want to have access to better players. They're going to cost money, so I would have been okay with it. I would completely understand other people being like, hell yeah, cheaper prices, let's go.
Right. Yeah. I don't mind the cheaper prices.
Yeah, I mean, nobody minds cheaper prices on anything, right?
Now, do I think we will ever get back to what it was before? When I think a season ticket was $120 or something like that.
Yeah, that was irresponsibly cheap.
Right. Those things are gone. But yeah, I mean, look, if you can see, if I told you were able to see, let's see, 19 plus home game, maybe 20 home games for the Kickers, and then another 10 or so for the Ivy for $300, that's not bad. Like 30 games.
I think you're overshooting a little bit especially on the Ivy numbers, but I mean, general sentiment, 25-ish, games, total between the two, for what do you say it was, 250, something like that?
300 for Kickers
the combo.
Yeah.
So that's what, maybe $11 or something a game.
Right.
You're not going to find
if you go to U20 games like us, you throw those in there.
Yeah.
Which is like another.
You're not going to find better entertainment prices anywhere.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, and look, I think also they still have like the flexible deals as well, where like you can just do kickers or you can just do Ivy. You're not pigeonholed into one. Um, and I will give them credit on this because we used to talk about it. The merchandise has got a little better. Do I want them to get away from the scarves? Absolutely, but I'm willing to say like the merchandise part of it has gotten better, and that's pretty cool. So, um, yeah, that's it on season tickets. I don't think there's any other kickers. Oh, I don't know if we talked about it last week, but Nick Sarantakos is going to High Point in January, so he won't be signing a pro deal with the Kickers as well. And I think we also mentioned what Grafton Call is going to be a Mountaineer and whatnot. So yeah.
Well, until they actually show up on campus in this day and age, anything's possible.
This is true. Yeah. So if you also haven't heard, we were not supposed to be not only talking about Tormenta, we was also talking about One Knox. That game got postponed to this following Wednesday, which is going to be a unique situation. I think the first time it's ever happened in USL League where a team has lost their home game and a team has gained their home game based on field conditions. And man, why is it always the state of Tennessee that has weird field conditions when the kickers go there? Chattanooga, One Knox 2 times.
I mean,
what is it?
I feel like I've heard stories about the people in Tennessee being very God-fearing people. I also hear stories about like wrath and things like that.
Yeah.
Storms coming down and like vengefulness. I don't know. Religion not really my thing, but I feel like I've heard these stories, bits and pieces. It's Tennessee. I mean,
It's Tennessee.
Trying to wash all the Tennesseaness out of it, which they probably need. Let's be real.
Yeah. So their field was unplayable again. This resulted, which I do. Darren and the other players talked about it, which might have led to some things. I think maybe like 5% of how the kickers played. You could tell just the chemistry wise, but they weren't able to train this week. They lost a couple of days of training because they had to, after Portland, they had to travel back to Richmond and then my play this right in my head. Game was Saturday in Portland, left Sunday, got back to Richmond, maybe practice, I don't know, but then left Tuesday to go to the One Knox. Game gets canceled. Then has to spend another day traveling back here to Richmond and whatnot. It just throws it probably just threw up all your preparation and stuff. It makes you feel awkward and weird. But
maybe,
yeah.
But that same exact schedule is going to happen whether they play that game or not.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like maybe 5%.
Yeah, so I can understand, appreciate the annoying element of it, and maybe it throws off a rhythm, but it's not like these training days are suddenly going to pop right back up.
Right. So now you got what? Yeah.
2?
Yeah, you get an extra home game now in One Knox. Midweek game you were supposed to have this week, now it gets stretched for this week. And you're playing One Knox in 2 weeks. Well, twice in 1 week. Both home and home. So, yeah. And it will be treated, I asked the media team, they said it will be treated like a Kickers home game. The video board would be Kickers. I don't think anyone One Knox media treated it there anything. So it will be an official home game for the Kickers.
It would have been, a fun novelty thing to, have it be technically a Knoxville home game, like the Kickers, in the away locker room, like the scoreboard done up in like Knoxville colors, and
that would have been very weird.
It would have been funny.
It would have been very weird, but yeah. So it would be treated like a Kickers home game. As far as
we could have brought some sand and made the infield.
We could have.
I don't think they're using the diamond anymore at this point, right?
No, man. The diamond is always going too, which is weird. I still haven't been to a game yet, which I need to. I probably need to make it out there soon. From what I understand, I think they're giving. Well, I think it's complimentary tickets. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think so.
Okay, so yeah. So, yeah, especially because it's midweek, I don't think attendance is going to be that high. I'm pretty sure the game on Saturday is probably going to be a little bit better attended. But if you can make it out Wednesday, it's some complimentary tickets. Try to make it out. All right, that's enough fluff. Well, I didn't say fluff. News that we talked about. Matt, let's go ahead. Let's make sense of this 3-2 loss by South Georgia Tormenta. To South Georgia Tormenta. A game in which the kickers had more shots on target, and honestly, all around, I would say looked like the better team for large parts. It's just that the defense, the midfield transition, and the fly-by-night defending, once again, is the Achilles heel of this Richmond kicker team, man.
Yeah, the midfield just sucked. Like,
yeah,
let's not mention words about this. All of them, I think, were pretty awful in this game, and we'll talk about a lot of that, coming up. But those are supposed to be your experienced, players, a lot of your leaders on the team, and that was a shameful showing by some of them. And I know there's been some, discourse out there about, we should always support the players. We've got to be 100% behind them. A couple of them with their effort that they put out there. No, you don't have to. You can dog them out for bad effort, because praise upon praise upon praise doesn't mean anything after a while. If somebody is not giving the effort out there, they don't need to be out there. They don't need to be wearing our shirt. They can get gone, for as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I would say this, man. There's a lot of self-inflicted errors. If you go back and look at every goal, there's an error that led to a South Georgia goal, versus where you look at our goals that were scored, we created them and we scored. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, we went out there and scored those. We gave 3 goals to South Georgia Tormenta.
Right. Yeah, and we'll talk about all the details on them, but the second goal, like if that happens to us, okay, there might be a little bit of nitpicking, but it's probably like, all right, well, that was kind of nice. Happens sometimes. All of ours were just like, what in the hell are you doing and thinking on this?
Yeah.
And in isolation, okay, maybe, but how many times this year have we talked about that exact same phrasing of what in the hell were you just thinking? You're right here. And this was game 19 of the regular season. There's been 4 Jaeger games. There's been an absolute mess of an Open Cup game. Like, these guys aren't just learning how to play with each other at this point. These guys have had, good half year, together, and realistically, a lot of the guys have had more than half a year. They've had a year and a half or more, together. This is like high school soccer level stuff, that's happening.
Yeah, it's just difficult to look at it, man, because like just watching. Granted, I was on the field taking photos, but I can tell visibly, like it looked like a lot of players just looked uncomfortable. I'm trying to think of a better word for it. Unassured of what to really do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing is, the only big change that happened was Pablo Hara started a home game in a league game, and Johnson was on the right.
Yeah, Chandler came back in for Hayden. Yeah. Otherwise, it's the same exact team that's played in Portland.
Right. Niels is back. Espinal is back. Like, and these are guys that are coming back from injury that are playing big minutes now, but they look settled and fine. And they're in the first half came back out here with his, I'll call it a 4-3-3. You can say whatever it is, but it was definitely a 4 in the back.
It was the usual.
Yeah, it was the usual lineup.
However you want to define the technical formation, it was the shape that we've seen 99% of the time, the last 6 years.
And for what it seemed like is Tormenta just, I call it a new management, but Tormenta just looked comfortable. They looked very assured of what they had. Like, it was very much back to basics. We are doing these 5 principal things, and we're just going to execute that well. Where it seemed like Richmond, right now, it feels as if they are just adding on top of stuff, and some stuff is getting lost in the sauce.
I mean, sometimes, but I mean, I did think the first 10 minutes or so they looked good. They
Yeah,
looked like clearly the better team. They looked organized. They looked like they were came out ready to play. So yeah, it's not like it was doom and gloom from the second the whistle blew. Like
no,
it
no, no.
started pretty decently, and I think it all the way until the actual penalty call. I thought the kickers were on the front foot. In the first half. No goals came of it, but they were creating a little bit of danger. They were getting into some good spots. Okay, maybe cross went a little long, or one of the guys was half a step off. That can happen, but those are usually good indicators that positive things are coming.
Yeah. It also felt like a lot of guys were relearning how to play with each other just because, like, that, well, it definitely, there was a weird link between Fitch and Johnson just because Johnson doesn't play on that right side. He's normally on the left, but like, there was a lot of confusion between those two. Also, in the interplay between like Johnson and O'Dwyer and Espinal, it just seemed like they didn't know how to link up between the three of them. It felt like a lot of, do I go here? Do I step here? How do I blend this? Because before this, like, Darren was experimenting with the 3-5-2, and those are totally different fundamentals and principles in between just the two formations, but also how do you want players to play and the roles happen? Ultimately, like, to me, I feel like that's a huge part of the first goal where it doesn't feel like anyone knows what to do. So it just leaves a huge gap in which they drove straight into to get the pin. Now, and also Dak did clip him.
I feel like that's been very kind to the actual players on the field. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
goal that penalty comes about from a kicker's attack. That's the thing that's infuriating, watching it. So I think it was Darwin. He gets a shot off. Great to see Darwin, fully back. Like he's a game changer in the attack. Like I think you can be able to tell the difference between the with Darwin and without Darwin,
Mm-hmm.
attacks. And if for nothing else, man's actually willing to shoot the ball. So he did that. Okay, it was a roller. That happens to every player in the world. No big deal. Austin Pack gets it, and he goes. He just throw gives a nice throw to Tunbridge, and it beats probably what 8 of our guys just with
Yeah.
that throw. Gets he able to collect the ball around the you know our defensive side, but on the midfield, the center circle. He carries it forward 40 yards unimpeded. Nobody there. Like, the spacing and the gaps that developed in this game, because this is not the only time we're going to talk about a massive gap between the midfield and the defense here. I mean, it's unforgivable. Like, there's no good reason any professional soccer player should be able to carry the ball straight forward for 40 yards. Uh, and okay, maybe if you're a right back collecting it in the corner and the team's sitting back, okay, you might be able to carry it for a while. When most of those 40 yards are in your attacking half, what? No. So he's able to carry it all the way up. He makes one hard cut, that you'd be able to kind of juke past Clyde, and all of a sudden it's a convergence of kind of Clyde, Pablo, and Dak comes in, and it was a penalty. He definitely
Yeah.
gets him across the back of the ankles, bring him down.
I
But
wonder if that foul, my fault. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wonder if that tackle happens in the midfield, like say if Dak cuts him out in the midfield, if that's a card or
he
not.
would have to be close to him to do that.
That is true. That is true.
Like, I'm sorry, this is supposed to be our captain. This is supposed to be, the veteran leader on the team, and he's AWOL in the middle of the midfield. That's your job, dude. What is going on here?
Yeah. There was a huge space there, man. And like just no, it was very much like recognizing the problem way too late. And then that happened on that goal, that happened on the second goal, that happened on the
On the
third
third
goal.
goal,
Yeah, just recognizing the problem way too late and then overcorrecting it that you create more issues for yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
So that wasn't great. I mean, also not great. This team has got into a big time habit lately of giving away penalties. I feel like it's like the third or fourth one in the last 4 or 5 games. It feels like.
yeah. And the thing is, like, this was a penalty. Now, I know there were some calls for Emmy to get a pin. I think the first one is definitely a pin. The second one, the way how the ref was going to, it definitely was going to call the second one. The first one, yeah, that's a pin. But yeah, I mean, even with that, still, like the kickers are putting themselves in this situation because if someone cuts out Tunbridge, let's say, like before he even gets in the goal box, we give away easy pin. That slows out Tormenta. That's not a chance you're giving up. You go look at the second goal, right? I love Chandler Dar, but we got to call him out on this. He was at best running at 40%, right? That
He
full
was running.
speed, jogging, and just that recognizing, like seeing the play before the play happens. Because if he's in the hip pocket of I forget who scored it, Cabral. Yeah, if he's in the hip pocket of him, it changes the complete alteration shot because there's nothing Clyde can do on that because Clyde's mixed up with I think it's Reese Steffens or Bezina. Pablo is stuck on an island, right? Like that's on Chandler because you get the ball stolen off of you. You know, granted, Neal's made a pass under pressure.
Right, and that happened.
Yeah, that happens. But you got to recognize that, okay, this ball gets stolen. Let me try to either A, steal this ball back or B, foul and slow him up.
Right.
Right.
And, if your thing, for the last year and a half is, oh, I really want to play as an 8. I really want to, play in this, this position. Like, happy to help the team as a forward, whatever. But, I really feel like I should be in midfield, and that's where I can be best. And then, okay, you get beat to a ball, and you just stop and put your head down. And the guy who just stole the ball, okay, one touch, pass up, he continues to run, and then he's the one who finishes, for the goal 3 seconds later. No, that I didn't catch that all in real time in the stadium. Watching it back, I completely understand why Darren took him off the field. I would have been fine with Darren taking him off the field right then and there at that exact moment. Like, give him the shame of a first half sub, for that kind of performance.
I mean, just and I felt like I have talked about it so much. Like there is time and a place for a tactical foul, and both of these goals, that's the time and place for that tactical foul.
Like, again, you actually got to be near a guy to foul him, though. And if you're not tracking him, you can't foul him because you're not near him.
No, and no, like I feel like football was unfair to Pablo because they gave him a 5.7. I really feel like that's because of the goals conceded. But he didn't have a bad game. It's not like, he was getting sprayed by shots by Tormenta or anything like that. Because any shot that Tormenta had, he was easily saving them. Right? Is when we had defensive error. Let me not even say defensive errors. We had midfield errors that left our goalkeeper on the island. Because if you go look at the third goal that Tormenta scored, it's another
that might have been some defensive errors.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. But I mean, also like mixing with midfield errors, just because the spacing between the midfield and defense was huge, right? Like Reese Steffens, if you go back and look at the play, Reese Steffens is on an island when that ball gets turned over from Fitch. Because Fitch plays that ball out and get cut out, and Reese Steffens is just standing there like, oh, I can have a 1v1 versus Lars. Okay. I think maybe you can put a little bit of blame on Lars. Maybe he could have done better of playing that ball out, but he got a foot to it, right? Got stuck in no man's land, got chipped. And Clyde Echella, for the goal that he scored, got his jersey as well. Love the man. But like, I don't need you to do the individual almost get another penalty kick called there, right? Because I feel like in that moment, you're panicking. You're panicking defending, and you're hoping, like, I hope I get the ball. I hope I get the ball. I don't need you to hope there. I need you to reassure that you get the ball. And then Guy Franca, I don't know what he is doing. Because if he just stays on the back of Reece Steffens, right? If he just literally takes half of his body and put it on the right shoulder of Reece Steffens and turns him, it's a hard shot. Now, if he makes that goal from there, give it to him, right? But I'd rather take that chance that you overrun him and you leave Pablo on the island again.
Yeah, I mean, it almost, we're getting close to NFL season. It almost looked like, Reed Stevens, I have no idea how to say his name. I don't care how to say his name. Looked like he was, prepping up to be able to, have to do kind of a swim move to be able to split the defenders.
Yeah, that's what
like the D lineman. Except he didn't have to because Clyde goes to ground and then Guy, like you said, I don't know. Man. And then he's like 6 yards from goal. Yeah, pretty easy finish. We'll come back to easy finish. Is maybe not so much a theme now of that goal, but all he had to do was a little dink, and Pablo was left out to dry once again. And I've not seen Pablo that mad at anybody as he was after that goal went in. Oh, he absolutely should be.
1,000% should be.
But nice guy Pablo, he lost it at them.
He did. He did. And I'm just like, yo, they deserve it, man, because it's like honestly, man, I don't know if you ever been in a situation where your coach who showed you film and then I love the saying, film don't lie, right? And if I'm Darren, all this week, I am just going back. I'm just showing that 20-second clip. I'm just going back and forth. Back and forth. And I'm just pointing each of them out. So what was your thought process here? Just back and forth. Back. That's all I'm doing. It should be on a loop. I don't get it. You can have one of these errors in a game, right? You can have one. You can't have three. You can't have three of these. But yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing we keep talking about. Okay, if a team's just straight up better than us and they beat us, so be it.
Right.
There's not me doing my bit. There's not me doing my usual bit right here. That Tormenta team sucks. They're not good. And they just were gifted the goals and they're like, yes, please and thank you. We'll take these.
Yeah.
And then when the kickers were gift wrapped at the very least one goal, they're like, no. You're our guest. Please have this back.
Oh man. I was standing right beside, and when it happened, I froze because I meant to go take a photo of it. But when I saw that, I swore up and down Kirkland was going to score. I just do. All right, Kirkland's going to too.
You thought a guy wide open, dead center goal from 8 yards out was going to score?
Yeah,
wow. What a wild thought for you to have. How unreasonable of you to expect that.
I know. And then Johnson, I mean, his was rushed though. I will say that he probably should have done better putting it on frame at least. But I mean, that's just hindsight 2020. Kirkland should have definitely scored that chance.
The pro side of that play, to be fair, Darwin was able to bait them into a bad pass. Yeah, got a turnover, and I wouldn't blame Darwin if he ripped it himself. He took the unselfish play, squared it to Kirkland, who again was sitting dead center of goal, 8 yards out. You have to finish that.
Yeah, you got to finish that. And it's not it's been a while since he scored. I can't remember when his last goal came, but you got to finish that. That's that striker's goal that on the platter for you. And I mean, honestly, that's a great way how to pivot. Let's talk about the positives. We talked about the negatives and all that stuff. Let's talk about the positives because there are some positives for this game, like Darwin coming back and just exploding. He had a great goal we got to see some of that partnership with Emiliano Terzaghi, which was a phenomenal backhill. Like, I feel like that's the thing that Emmy brings. We haven't seen it for a while because he's dealing with injury. He's coming back, and he was fighting the flu.
Classic assist Emmy.
Yeah, you know,
What everybody expected.
Yeah, right. And him. I asked you this question during the game, and I still haven't looked at it, but it's been very rare that we've seen him, Bill Hart, and Emmy. I mean Darwin on the field at the same time. And I feel like that's the thing that we've been waiting for, and I feel like Darren's been waiting for it. But it brought a lot of problems because we saw Bill Hart when he came on at halftime. It seemed like he was single-handedly at moments like dragging this kicker's attack and be like that midfield pivot, right? And being able to transition that ball and put it into attacking spaces and get this team going.
Yeah, I think the shape change at halftime really benefited Bill Hart too because they moved to the 3-5-2, so Maxey and Simon kind of playing a lot wider and a lot higher than before, and Bill Hart was playing kind of underneath, so it was Darwin and Kirkland and then Emmy up front. I feel like that underneath role in the middle really suited Bill Hart there a little bit more than being out on the wing because he was able to have a little more room to be dribbling creative. Give him I think closer touches to guys like Darwin where they could be able to make some or at least attempt some combinations. I think we're going to see a few nice connectors between those guys. I think we're also going to see quite a few attempted ones that might drive us a little crazy sometimes, where it's like there's a much simpler way to do this over here. Y'all went for the fancy instead.
Yeah.
But when it works, it's gonna be nice.
But yeah, I mean, like that was a good positive. Cloudy Taylor getting his goal. That's like set pieces is more or less been a strong suit of this kicker team. Like,
well, the offensive side.
The offensive side. I feel like this is one of Darren's strong suits. Like, I feel like he is probably one of the best coaches in USL League at designing how to score off set pieces. That doesn't always pull off, no, but the kickers more or less are dangerous on them. And it showed off here, Now, I think the goal was already scored before the putback, but
no,
I'm just glad Charlie put it back.
No, there's a guy on the line. I would put it more. It hit him rather than he cleared it off the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
But what I was most encouraged by was Clyde was able to basically get his own rebound and clean it up right away because that's something that has hurt us on the defensive side this year, and it feels like it doesn't happen as often for the guys on the attacking end of being able to kind of anticipate, see where the ball is going, and be able to be there to, in this case, knock it home the side of the foot from 3 yards out. Cheap goals are good goals, so they all count the same.
Yeah, for real, they do. Yeah,
100%. And that goal was needed at that moment, because it helped to bring the crowd back into it. There's definitely frustration building at that point, and it gave hope. And I think it boosted the spirit of the guys on the field too. Because not gonna lie, at 2-0, body language did not look great.
No,
out there. But you saw that, and then I mean, again, as we mentioned, probably should have been 2-2, right before halftime. But it's Tormenta, mantra. They're not good enough to be able to shut this team down. We're going to get our chances. It was a matter of were we going to be good enough to keep them out the rest of the way? Unfortunately, not.
Yeah. So
I also like Maxey in this game. I think that wingback position fits him to a T. Lets him really be able to freelance. Push up. Combine with Darwin a little bit better. I think. Takes a little bit of the defensive responsibility off of him, but still enough of it there where he's able to get back and help out. So I think that kind of shape, like he's tailor made for that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: what is Darren's hesitation with just going all in with this 3-5-2 at this point? Like, what is pulling him back? We're starting this game off with the 3-5-2 and just going into it. Was it because players are coming back and he's like, "Oh, these guys worked in the 4-3-3. Let's."
Yeah, I mean, I don't fully know. You got to be perfectly clear. My guess is he really, I think he really likes the 3 up top approach, and somebody's going to have to either be slightly out of that position or be sacrificed altogether to and it also kind of can mess with how the midfield sets up. So that's my guess, but I don't totally. It could also very reasonably and very fairly be that he doesn't have 3 center backs at any one time that he trusts to be on the field.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't seen Griffin play on the field at the same time as Large, have we?
Yeah, we have.
We have. Okay, I felt like we haven't, but maybe
because Griffin was playing the left center back against Naples when last time we played 3 in the back.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
I think he had a game back there with him too, as just a 2 center back as well. But
I feel like
don't know.
I feel like right now, like I trust Large, right? Like I feel like he's a good defensive centerpiece. Clyde is maybe 2. I feel like it's between Clyde and Griffin. It just depends on what you want. I still have Gee as like my last choice center back.
I mean,
it's nothing personal. It's just.
Oh no, of course it's not personal.
It's somebody's just errors, right?
Yeah,
like Clyde to me he's a risk taker in terms of tackles, right? And am I willing to live with that? Griffin Garnett, he's a risk taker in terms of passes. So it just depends on all right, which risk taker am I more comfortable with in what game? And then Gee is just 1v1 errors. Like that's what it just comes out. It's just errors. If he can clean up the error side of this game, there is a solid center back in Gee, right? From physical attributes to how he progresses the ball. It's just the errors hinder his game. Right? And if he can clean that up, all right, bet. We can have a solid back 3. Or like something you've always recommended, why not just sift Simon Fitch into that left, like almost Man United is doing with Luke Shaw, and just slide him into that right center back role?
I mean, I think he would be potentially really good there because he can do the job like the right wing back. I don't know if that's the best fit for him.
Yeah.
Granted, I have no idea who that would be. Like, I guess Hayden maybe would probably be the most natural on the team in that kind of a role.
To be honest with you, is Hayden and Maddie.
Yeah.
On that wing back spot is Hayden and Maddie. They're probably the best to crossbreed at that.
And yet we got Ryan Baer there for the last 10 minutes. That was an interesting sub.
Yeah, at that point you're chasing the game.
Yeah.
We've docked Darren before because he's making systematic subs and he just threw something out there and be like, hey, try and hey.
Yeah, I mean
it'll pay off.
Or the kind of nothing else with Baer. Boy's gonna run nonstop for however long he's out there. So sure.
Right. And the other positive was it was good to see Batty not on crutches or have a boot on. So is his return possible coming back? Yeah. Which is probably needed given the air stretch and the kickers are on. But right now, if you look at the kickers position, it's not positive, being honest. They said 13th. And also, Matt, like I don't think it's not even fair to even talk about playoffs. Like playoffs are the last thing on my mind starting now, given that we have 11 games left. Yeah, 11.
Yeah.
11 guaranteed games left. Yeah, it's the last thing on my mind. I think we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, six home games, 5 in a row. I don't even care about playoffs. What I want to see out of this team, out of this last 11 games, especially with the break coming up between August 23rd and September 3rd, is I want to see this team give me some hope going into next season. Because I don't want is what happened at the end of 23, and this team just go on a negative run with no wins to end out the year, right? I don't want that to happen. What I want, and if this team misses the playoffs, will I be annoyed? Yes. Will I be upset? Yes. But I feel like if we can get 4 wins, 5 wins, and have a chase at the playoffs, like I feel like I will have a more positive outlook on the end part of the season and be like, all right, these are the things, these are the players that we can take and build on heading into 2026. Versus if we don't win and this team just goes on a negative skid, I'm pretty much just gonna be like blow it all up and start from scratch, which is going to be harder to do heading into 2026.
I'm not really willing to write playoff stuff yet. Texoma is on 21 points. That's only a 4-point difference right now. And if you look at the schedule that's remaining, okay, 3 against Knoxville. That's not ideal. No. But Westchester, 2 against Madison, Portland, Tormenta, Texoma. Like those are games against bottom half teams that we are right up against for a playoff spot. So it's not like we're going into a gauntlet full of Spokanes and I can't believe I'm saying this, Chattanoogas and teams like that just keep winning and winning and winning. Right? We're going up against a lot of other flawed teams as well. So I don't think time to write anything off. I think we're getting very, very, very close to you know must not lose territory, if not must win territory. But
I was going to say I think we are very much in must win territory. I think so. That's why I was saying personally, I'm not gonna be like ho hum on playoffs, like, oh, we gotta make the playoffs. Like I just want the team to like take it game by game at this point. Like see what you can do.
I would say the schedule, I haven't looked at the other team's schedule. It's hard for me to imagine, some of the competition that we're fighting with for one of these last spots. And granted, it's a lot of teams. It's not going to be as simple as just make up 4 points because other teams are going to be getting points along the way too.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that all of them are missing the top 3 in the standings the rest of the way through.
Well, and this is another thing too. To your point, Matt, we don't play a top 3 team right now on the table for the rest of the year. That's Chattanooga, Spokane, and FC Naples. We do have 3 cracks and 1 knocks. You play Charlotte, who's the 5th seed. You play AV Alton, who's 6. And then after that, you got number 8 Texoma, number 9 Portland, number 10 South Georgia, number 11 Fort Madison, and number 14 Westchester.
Yeah, and twice against Madison.
Yeah, twice against Madison. So
it's there for them if they want to get their stuff together and get moving. Like there's every reason to think, based off what the schedule is presenting, that it can get done.
Yeah.
Now, will the defensive mistakes stop? That's the $1 million question we're waiting to find out.
Right. That's the that's the catch-22 in all of this. But I mean, the Kickers control their own destiny. It's tough. It's also going to be tough this week because you play 1 knocks twice in a week, which is that. I'm not going to say
that's USL heritage right there. Except back in
Yeah.
the day, it would be literal back to backs. So we would play like Virginia Beach or Charlotte or Charleston or somebody like Friday night, and then Saturday at the other team's place.
Yeah.
So literal back to backs.
Deliver back to back. But yeah, I mean, I think at best, like, I don't see us being one knocks 2 times in a row. And it's going to be tough to get one win off of them. To be honest with you, I don't see us holding them scoreless. But if you told me, like, all right, Elliot, you going to go into this break with 2 points, I will take it right now. I will take it right now. Or, I'm not trying to be defeatist or anything. Like, if you give me 1 point and been like, all right, you lost the other game, but it's a very convincing loss, like 1-0, right? But you outplayed One Knox, you made it tough on them, you just couldn't finish. I can live with that as well.
Yeah,
What I don't want to happen is have 2 losses and we look lost.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very helpful.
No.
They're some less than ideal results. Like they've drawn against Madison. They've lost to Madison this year. They've drawn Westchester twice. They've shipped some points against the bottom end of the table here and there. So not impossible that they could continue that. They drew Portland when they played them. So did we. So
yeah,
they're not infallible. They don't lose a lot. I will say that, but they've got some draws that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, they got what 7? Yeah, 7 draws. And the thing is, I mean, that's another thing the kickers. I mean, we talked about before. They don't do well at is they don't draw. I mean, they have 5 draws, which is, I think, tied for second least in the league with South Georgia and Spokane. Second least right now. But I mean, the best thing about it, man, and I was even telling this after the game or not, because he was very apologetic about the errors and things like that, and you guys get another crack at it on Wednesday, and then after that, you get another crack at it on Saturday. So take the lessons from this, learn from them, and get better. Like, and that's my thing too about all of this. Like, it's unrealistic to think your team is going to go unbeaten and win every single game. Would it be great? Yes.
But Elliot, that's what happens when I play FIFA. So why doesn't it happen here?
Because these are real people, and like you saw in this game, mistakes happen.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, my whole thing is like, what I want to see happen is the mistakes that happen in this game. You learn the lessons from them, and you get better, and you prepare for the next game coming up. I don't want to have these mistakes happen and you're not learning from them, right? Or you're being stubborn in your ways. You think that stubbornness is just going to just magically get you a win, right?
Yeah. If it doesn't work out Wednesday or Saturday, I would like to have new reasons to talk about why it didn't work instead of the same as always.
Yeah, for real. Like, just don't hand them a win. Don't hand them a win. Don't hand them a win. Yeah, man. And the thing, after this week, we will have a good long break to September 3rd. No game on the 30th, so the kickers will be off Labor Day weekend. So yeah, it'd be fun, be interesting. But Matt, anything else for you, my man, before we wrap up?
No, I mean, it wasn't fun, on Saturday, but beauty of it is, like you said, get another crack, and because Knoxville built a nice stadium that doesn't have any drainage in it, bonus game.
Pretty much. And how many times do you get a bonus game? Not often. So enjoy it while you got it. But as always, folks, we just want to say thank you for taking time of your day for listening to our show, because without you, we couldn't do this and we wouldn't want to do this. So yeah, thank you so much. Make sure you like, share, subscribe with a friend. If you want to donate to the podcast, as always, that'd be greatly appreciated. You can do so at rivercity93.com/support. But for Matt, for the rest of the crew, for myself, we will holler at you guys next week where hopefully, prayerfully, we will have something better to talk about. Something more hopeful. And some wins. That's all I want. But yeah, and also, happy back to school to everyone going back, to all the teachers, staff, administrators, even the kids. Wish you the best of luck this school year. I hope everything you do is in positive momentum. But with all that being said, we'll holler at you guys next week. Be easy and be